The Masterclass on India Stack and Open Networks Why They Matter by Sharad Sharma has been interesting and informative. Now we have a question and answer round. Our first question is: can you name the applications developed by the Government of India or any states using the DPA framework?
So the best one to cite here is called eSarthi. This is by Karnataka government, and it is to take all your data that is there, particularly in the agriculture space, and you can then, this is already with the government, right? So can you now ask the Karnataka government to give it to somebody else? So that's why it's called e-Sahamati, not e-Sarthi, sorry. It's called e-Sahamati. So you are giving consent using the DEPA framework for your data, which is already with the government, to be shared with somebody else. Now, of course, account aggregator itself is being integrated with all the public sector banks. We have 1.14 billion bank accounts connected to that, and 60% of them are from public sector banks. So that's an area where, again, this is significant. We don't often appreciate that account aggregator, although it is a new system, and as I said, launched only on September of 2021, it is already bigger than GDPR system that was launched in Europe. And there are serious discussions in Europe to make the India system, the Indian DEPA system, the GDPR 2.0 for Europe. So very often we don't appreciate what's in front of us, until it kind of really goes mainstream, right? So DEPA has good usage in both private sector and the government sector.
Can you please talk about the status of implementing data monetization in Indian government context?
I'll mention this in both contexts. So first is, there are two cycles that are there, and I'll flash a slide so that I can explain this a little better. So there are two cycles of data that are there that we have to understand. One is called the inference cycle, and the other one is called the training cycle. Now, what does the inference cycle mean? Inference cycle means that, look, like money, we don't keep it under our carpet. Our personal data is also not sitting with us most of the time, right? Our photos are sitting with Google and Apple. Our financial data is sitting with banks, mutual funds, insurances. My health data is sitting with the lab often, it's sitting with the doctor, hospital, and all of that. So if supposing, let's take the lending example, I want to apply for a loan, and if I can give the lender a near 360-degree view of my financial life, my odds of getting a loan become better. So in the India system, what you can do is to do it on consent. I can give consent. And so my data from my 3 bank accounts, 2 mutual fund accounts, 1 insurance can be sent to the lender, and the lender gets a more complete picture. Now, what the lender gets is a silver copy of my data. So which means it's purpose limited, which means they can only use it to infer whether or not I am eligible for a loan, I should get a loan, what will be my risk. And after they have done that, they have to retire that data. They have to destroy that data. And so if supposing 6 weeks later, I go back and want to apply again, I'll have to go through the same process again. So this is called the inference cycle. And in this inference cycle, my personal data cannot move from my custodians to the personal data consumer without my electronic consent. And that consent is auditable, it is notified. It's just like when I send money on UPI, I get a SMS saying, 20 rupees was sent somewhere. So I get a notification when the money, here you get a notification that your data was actually sent, and all those goodies are there. And that's what makes this system so compelling. Now, this is one type of data transfer, right? And as I pointed out, even Government of India is into this and are saying that, look, I will make this possible. Remember, there is no monetization here. This is my data. I am asking my bank to send it to my lender, right? And why am I doing this? Because I want to be able to get a loan, right? So this is not about monetization. Now, where monetization usually comes in is that my lender Or same thing I can do, by the way, for a doctor. I want a second opinion. I send all my reports from 5-7 different places, and now doctor gets a 360-degree view to infer what's wrong with me. But as doctor sees many more patients, they have silver copies of many patients that are there. Now they are tempted to now monetize this, right? They're saying they can now ask a diagnostic bot company. Let's say I have high myopia, so I'm going to a eye doctor who takes my retina scan. Now, they have many retina scans. So many companies coming in and saying, if you let me see that, bunch of retina scans that you have, I can train my model to identify problems very easily. And that is where training data sets are monetized. Now, in India, what is happening is that this is the new system that is coming. Now, when that training data set is sent to somebody else, to a modeler, it is very risky, because to prevent leak of privacy, you anonymize that data set. But anonymization is an art, it's not a science. If you over anonymize, the signal is lost. If you under anonymize, de-anonymization is possible. So therefore, anonymization results in many problems that we have heard about everywhere in the world. India is abandoning the anonymization model and replacing it with a different model, where instead of that data going somewhere else, the model comes and visits the data. But that model can come and visit the data only if the certification has been done. And if that certification happens using differential privacy, it's a public certification system. What it gives you is a computational guarantee that this model can take model weights back. After it inspects the data, it can take model weights back, but it cannot take any private data back, right? And so now suddenly it creates a system in India where you can unlock training data sets for modeling purposes, even monetization purposes, but in a way that is computationally guaranteed to be privacy preserving. Now, if you can do that, then India, since it has lots of data, India has a chance of emerging as a model capital of the world. And it moves away from the old model that I am, let's say, an IRCTC, and I want to monetize my data. In the act of monetizing that data, I actually compromise privacy. In this model, it is not possible to compromise privacy. And furthermore, it is possible that IRCTC or whoever is the training data provider who's making money in this monetization process will share that monetization with the data principals, right? With the individuals whose data it was in the first place. And since it's all electronic, it is possible for that data individual to say, I choose to opt out from this system. So when, I book a ticket, I don't want my data should be put in the aggregate data set so that it will be used for monetization later. Both of those possibilities automatically become available. So this is the new system that is going to go out as we speak. The inference cycle is already up and running. It is quite on its way to become a grand success, and the training cycle will come out later this year. And then that will complete the system that we have in India, and India would have the most modern, most citizen-friendly data sharing system, both for personal data and for training data of any country in the world. It will be the most robust and successful system in the world.
Are our regulatory institutions geared well to formulate forward-looking policies and adjudicate on disputes?
So it's a very good question. I think in the financial world, the answer to that is yes. The financial regulators are very clued in, and they operate in this model that I talked to you about. But when it comes to other sectors, we have to supplement our regulatory capacity and state capacity to make that happen. In fact, for this new world that is emerging, there are market capacity gaps and there are state capacity gaps, both of which have to be sorted out. But, it is going to happen. Why? Because we have a successful example before us, which is the financial world. And in the financial world, it has worked very well, and therefore it gives us a reference implementation that we can use in other areas as well.
Hope you enjoyed this masterclass and thank you for watching. Don't forget to tune into our next one.